everyone, it's Shel C from PaperOcotilloStudio, and today I'm sharing with you my Pick a Stick challenge from the Pick a Stick Challenge Facebook group run by myself and Peg Robinson. And this challenge, I don't think you guys really understand what we're going for here. We are going for you to not only step outside of the box, we want you to stretch your creativity. We want you to think of new ideas, come up with new solutions to things. And in light of that, we have one-word prompts that you use to do whatever you want. Whatever that word means to you, that's what you can use on your page, whether it's literal or figurative or somewhere, way out in space. That's what we want you to do. That's what this challenge is about. So step one, I didn't really stretch myself after saying all that. Step one was stamp. And the colors for this month are red and slate. And so I used watering can archival ink to just make a pattern on my background. This art journal page has been taped off, and I've also put some gesso on it. And so I'm not getting a real clear image, and that is fine with me. That's, gesso is sandy and crunchy a little bit, so you don't get a super clear image. Plus, I think my ink pad probably needs to be re-inked. But I got some of that gray color on there. Kind of strange that we've had a gray for at least two of the 3 challenges this year. I don't know what happens with the pick sticks. I mean, it's random. That's one of the challenges. It's completely random. And so we sometimes just don't get what we expect. But before I started my next step, I wanted to just put some color on the background. When I saw all those circles that I had put on there, I decided they look like bubbles, and I decided to make a underwater scene. So the next step was reduction. Now that word means a lot of things to a lot of people. Reduction could mean that the price has gotten lower. Reduction can mean that you got thinner. Reduction just means to make smaller. That's all it is, the process of making smaller. Now there is a technique in lino cutting, which is a form of printing, monoprinting actually, well, yeah, pretty much monoprinting, that you take some linoleum and you cut out pieces of it and make kind of a printing block or stamp. You can also do this with carving rubber. And the technique that is called reduction has to do with cutting out some of the lino cut, then printing with it, and then going on with another layer, cutting out more of the spaces. And so you're reducing the amount of linoleum, printing that, reducing it some more, but cutting out some more, and printing it again. And of course, I wasn't going to make a lino cut for my page, but I did basically the same technique by using some fun foam. And I cut the fun foam into kind of a rounded square to begin with, and I used the yellow. Then I cut off some of it in squiggly lines, used the orange over the top of the yellow. Then I cut off some more, and I'm now using the red, and then I will cut off some more again and use a lighter color to come back in. I'm trying to create a coral reef, and I figured that this would be an easy way to demonstrate this idea of a reduction technique. But do you need to do this? No, there is no cut and dried anybody telling you. There's no pick a stick challenge police telling you this is what you have to do. This was an idea that I had, and that is what I was thinking about. So another form of reduction could be to do an ombre effect on your page by mixing less and less and less color into a white base. That would be reducing the amount of color. Do you see what I'm doing here? I'm trying to explain to you that this challenge is about thinking outside the box, way outside of the box, and using the prompts in a way that makes you happy for your art journal page. Art journaling is all about you. It's what you want to do. Do what you want because it's what you want to do. That's right. So that's reduction. Step 3 was fuzzy. And I have this stuff in my drawer that I never use. This is back from way back when I was doing stamping for Stampin' Up. It's called Fun Flock, and it's basically these little weird fuzzy fibers that are kind of like glitter, but they're not shiny. They're not made out of plastic. They're like some type of a fiber, basically. And when you put it on, it makes something fuzzy. That's its whole purpose. And back in the day, I used to use it on teddy bears. I had brown, and I used to use it on teddy bears. And I had these other colors. I don't think I've ever used red ever. Ever. Maybe for like a Santa Claus hat or something, maybe. I don't know. But it's been in that drawer, and I'm like, I'm going to get this stuff out, and I'm going to make this page fuzzy. So I used some iCraft mixed media glue that happens to have a really nice point to it, and I drew on some squiggly lines to make the coral reef look a little bit more like coral. And then I used red because red is one of the colors. Now at this point, as I was cleaning up all that flocking, my camera shut off. I don't know why. I didn't turn it off. It just decided to. So the next step was supposed to be switch, but I didn't have an idea for that, so I used one of the wild cards drop, and I used some white Liquitex ink and some slate colored alcohol ink, and I just dropped it on my page. So you're not going to see that, but you can see the drops. See the drops all over the place? I decided they look like jellyfish at some point in my underwater scene. So then I also, during the time that the camera was off, I drew a mermaid. But before I did that, I wanted to use the what number was that? Step 5. That was Scallop. And I thought about shells and how they have a scalloped edge. And then I was also thinking about mermaid scales and how they kind of, or fish scales, how they look like scallops. And so I got out a pair of scallop scissors that cut a scallop edge and made these shells in my coral reef, big shells in comparison to the coral. They're giant. They're giant oysters or something. And I used a cleanup jelly print that had some red and some grayish black on it to make my shells. And I made a second one there on screen so you could see how I did it. Just used those scallop edges to cut the edge of the shell. And then now I'm just working on my mermaid. She's diving down into the water to collect something out of the shell. Normally it would be a pearl, but it ended up being a stick-on gem because I couldn't find my half pearl stick-on pearls. They're somewhere, but I don't know where. I just can't find them. But before all that happened, I was coloring my mermaid, and I wanted to stick with the colors of the challenge, which are slate and red, and so I do want to make those colors incorporate into my mermaid as well. And so I started out by coloring her skin using some Neocolor 2 crayons. I still have a little bit of white gesso on my palette, my very dirty, icky looking palette over there. And I was mixing that in with the lighter color of skin. Then I decided to paper paint or collage her tail. So I have some other, I don't know if you would call them gel prints or if you'd call them cleanup pages, but either way, I'm cutting them with the scallop scissors as well. And then just using a glue stick instead of getting out my matte medium and everything. I'm just using this glue stick. It's a Elmer's Craft Bond glue stick that I just got. I got a pack of 4. I think it's going to be really nice. It's a permanent bond glue stick. So I decided to try them out. And I ordered them off of Amazon. You know, 'cause you do. And I'm just layering little bits of paper that have been cut with the scallop scissors on the edge of my mermaid tail to make some scales. What I probably should have done was to use more colors that are different. Like it's kind of all one color. I mean, there are different colors on there, but it ended up all being pretty monochromatic with the reds and the grays when I thought that I was actually using different colors. But I should have done like maybe a row of a reddish one, then a row of a darkish one, so that the scallop showed up a little bit more. But I did end up highlighting it with a silver Posca pen to make them stand out a little bit more. And I think that worked out okay. But I was just trying to stick with gray colors for my mermaid to make her blend into the color suggestions for this month, which were randomly drawn on sticks. All of this was randomly drawn on sticks. So you get what you get and you don't have a fit. So then I glued all that tail down over the mermaid's drawing tail, and I realized that I had curved the tail in a different direction. Not sure why that happened. I thought I was tracing. Apparently I wasn't. Anyway, then I just started coloring some more. I'm going to be using the Neo Color 2s and these are water soluble crayons. Mixing it in some cases with a little bit of the white gesso on my palette, and then I'm using a water brush. This one is from the set that I got from Arteza. I actually didn't get this from them. I did get some products from them, but this was not one of them. I purchased this before I ever heard from them. They wanted me to do a product review. It's a set of, I think, 6 or 8 water brushes that are in all different sizes. I think it's 6. There's 3 flat and 3 pointy brushes, and I'm enjoying them. I'm having a lot of fun with them. They have a nice way of getting the water out. It's got like kind of a button that you squeeze rather than trying to squeeze the whole thing with your hand. Having a little trouble with my wrists and hands right now, so being able to get the water out easier was nice because I'm having, I don't know what it is, but something's going on. I'm going to have to go to the doctor. I don't appreciate that. So just continuing to color. You know, this goes on for a while. What should we talk about? My illustration is a little weird. A little weird. I drew it without any reference, and I'm not sure that the body anatomy would really work. It seems like she's really bending her back, really arching her back, which mermaids probably can arch their back pretty well. They swim all day. You know, they're probably pretty flexible, but maybe not quite as much as it appears in this one. And then her hair is, of course, being washed up away from her face as she dives down. But I wanted to be able to see her face, so I had to have her head tilted back in order to see the face. Otherwise, you would be seeing the back of her head, which I didn't think was very interesting, but probably more accurate. You probably would just see the back of her head. But nobody ever said I had to be accurate in my art journal. It's my art journal. I can do what I want. So I do like how the hair coloring turned out. I started with a gray tone and just did the whole thing. And then I came in with the black crayon and added some shadowing in some areas, and then used a little bit of the white gesso to lighten a highlight in some areas, and I think it turned out pretty cool. There must be a current because it's really getting blown back from her face and up, or else she's swimming pretty fast, diving down pretty fast, because the hair is really being blown up. It might have been more curly around her face if she hadn't been going so fast, or if there hadn't been such a current that she had to be fighting against. That's all I'm saying. So then at some point I used my mechanical graphite pencil to draw in some more details where I feel like I'm losing the details. Just going back and forth. And then I decided to make a real hard shadow around her, like a hard shadow around her, because everything seems so busy. It's just all kind of crazy. It's all kind of crazy. So I thought she would stand out better from the background if I made a very dark shadow. So To do that, I used my Stabilo All pencil, which is a highly water reactive pencil, drew around her body and blended it out with the water brush. And that does seem to make a big difference on how much she stands out from the background. You can really see that there's a figure there. I think before that she was just kind of fading in, you know, just fading in. In the pictures at the end, you'll be able to see the fuzzy. There's a couple close-up pictures where you can really see the fuzzy, and you can tell that it's fuzzy. I don't think you can on the video. Just like you really can never see glitter or shimmer on the video. It just isn't high enough quality to pick up those type of details. Because it's video, and if it was super high quality, it would be like so long that and big, the file would be so big that you'd never be able to upload it. I also used the Stabilo All around the shells as well so that they could stand out a bit from the coral to make a dark shadow and to kind of balance everything out. I think this page turned out pretty cute. I think I used the prompts pretty well. Is it my most favorite page ever? No, it isn't. But it's an art journal, and that's all I need it to be, is some practice and play and a stretch of my creativity. So this is when I think I decided that my drops that I had on the page turned out to look a little bit like jellyfish swimming around her. I was at the Oregon Aquarium in Lincoln City on the coast not that long ago, and they had some beautiful tanks of jellyfish. I could sit and watch those for days. I mean, they are so interesting. They're not thinking, they're just like floating around, and their little tentacles just kind of move, and they're just chilling. Man, some days I wished I was a jellyfish. Right now I wished I was a jellyfish. I bet you all can understand what I'm saying. I'm stressing a bit around here, and I'd just like to be just a carefree jellyfish that just has nothing to do but float. That would be awesome. So this is when I came in with the silver Posca pen, like I said earlier, and I was just adding some detailing to the scallops so that you could pick them up a little bit more off the very variegated tail that she has there. Adds a little bit of shimmer too, of course, like metallic-y stuff does. Then I went and I got a stick-on gem. I was looking around for the pearls and I couldn't find them, so we got a stick-on gem, which kind of dictated what I decide to put on the page as a title or a phrase or whatever you want to call it, about searching for the light in the darkness, which is meaningful to me right now. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. If you did, please remember to give it a thumbs up and leave me a comment or a question below, or a suggestion. If you'd like to see something on this channel that you're not seeing, please suggest it and I will think about it. This is where I got out my Brother P-Touch label maker to put on my little words there, and kind of drew around them with the pen. Still adding a little bit of detail with the black Posca pen. Also, don't forget to subscribe and turn on your notification bells, although you will not receive a notification for every single video I make. I just found that out, surprisingly. And of course, share if you want to. That is it for me. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.